Hi everyone and welcome to a Theme Park Worldwide news update. Dorney Park have announced their new edition for 2024. It's going to be called Iron Menace and it's a B&M Dive Coaster. In this video I'm going to share all of the details that we know about Iron Menace. We'll take a look at some on-ride footage, some off-ride shots and exactly what this new ride is going to be like coming to Dorney Park. Now the park itself is located in Pennsylvania, USA. I actually visited there with Charlotte for the first time this year back in June 2023 as part of our USA road trip. It was actually the first part we did that trip and we had a brilliant time, some really good rides at the park. However, I was aware that there really hadn't been much investment in big rides for quite some time, so it's really nice to see Dorney Park having a brand new coaster for 2024. Now the park itself is owned by the Cedar Fair chain. Of course they own so many parks throughout the States and Canada, including of course Cedar Point in Ohio, along with that Kings Island, Knott's Berry Farm and many more awesome parks. And it's that time of year when the Cedar Fair chain always make their announcements for what's going to be going into their different parks. And yes, it's great to see Dorney Park getting something big and exciting. Let's start off then by having a look at this new ride, Iron Menace, and going through some of the details. I'm also going to talk about the backstory, because that's what I really like with Cedar Fair now. There's much more focus on the theming and the storyline with their rides than there was maybe a few years ago, and I am a big fan of that and making it much more immersive. Now the ride itself is going to be 160 foot tall and is going to feature a beyond vertical 95-degree drop at 152 feet. Yeah, this is something that we've really started to see now from B&M with the dive coaster model. We saw it from Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger that opened at Six Flags Fiesta Texas this year, and that features a beyond vertical drop. So yeah, the angle of that at 95 degrees. Now the ride itself is also going to feature 4 inversions, or technically 3 depending how you class inversions, but yeah, the park are stating it as 4, and myself I would also class it as 4 inversions, and I'll go through those in just a second. Iron Menace is going to feature a top speed of 64 miles an hour. So yeah, we're talking a pretty average speed really for a dive coaster, of course, of this size. And that's the thing, we've seen a lot of B&M dive coasters out there now, but I think there's a reason why parks keep putting them in. The B&M, they're reliable, they're great to look at, and from a marketing point of view, they are great rides, and the general public really enjoy a good dive coaster. Of course, Oblivion up the road at Alton Towers, you know, is still very popular. It was the original one of those to open in 1998, and yeah, we've seen that model open at so many other theme parks now around the world and be very successful. They're easy to market. The public, when they ride them, they always feel that in anticipation, you know, of making your way down there to the drop. So I can see exactly why Cedar Fair wanted to put one in here to Dorney Park. Now, let's go more into them inversions on the ride. So of course you're going to make your way down that's 152 foot drop, and yeah, you're going to go straight up into an Immelman. Following that, there'll be a zero-G roll, and then there's going to be the world's first tilted loop, as they call it, and yeah, that's an incline loop, as we'd officially know in the industry. And yeah, similar elements can be found on the Swarm at Thorpe Park here in the UK, the B&M Wing Coaster. Along with that, you can find one on Icon as well at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Not quite as steep, that one though, but yeah, it gives you a bit of an idea on what we're seeing. But yeah, it's the first dive coaster to actually feature one of these. Whether you class it as an inversion or not, it's up to you. The park class it as that. I would say I do because of how steep it is, but not everybody does, because technically the train doesn't go upside down, it more banks to that sort of angle on there. But you know, it's up to you, isn't it, if you want to class that as an inversion or not. And then finally it will feature a corkscrew as well. Now along with that, in terms of a capacity point of view, it's going to feature 2 trains. Of course they all come floorless now on the dive coasters. That's something that's very different still on Oblivion, the original, where we haven't got the floorless trains. You know, you've got the floor underneath, you've got the bar in front to kind of rest your legs on if you want to. And yeah, we don't really see that now on the dive coasters. They all come floorless kind of as standard. Yeah, there's going to be 2 trains, 3 rows per train, of course, meaning a total of 21 riders. So yeah, we're talking 3 lots of 7 on each train. So again, pretty standard really for what we can expect from a dive coaster of this nature. Yeah, all in all, it looks like it'll be a nice addition to the park. I know a lot of people have kind of thought, oh, it's just another dive coaster, there's nothing really exciting from this. But I think for me, you know, it's a good solid addition. A B&M, you know what you get getting, they're reliable, great capacity. A ride like this can help so much at a park on a busy day, and that's the thing with the B&M coaster. They've just got it, haven't they, when it comes to that reliability. Along with that, it's also going to be the Northeast's first dive coaster as well. So yeah, fun little fact for you. Now, as I've mentioned, with the Cedar Fair editions these past few years, they have started to think more about the theme and the backstory. We've seen that with the likes of Copperhead Strike that opened at Carowinds a few years ago. Knott's Berry Farms always kind of had that influence, but even more so recently. And even with the likes of Top Thrill 2, it's got more of a backstory that's coming to Cedar Point. So I do really like how they're going more away from the amusement park aspects and more into the themed route. And we've seen that with the new additions at Carowinds for this year, Kings Island with the new family investments. You know, it all kind of comes into that, which is great to see, and I'm a big fan of that. So let's talk a little bit about the backstory to Iron Menace, shall we? So yes, you've got a Scottish businessman called Hiram S. McTavish, I think that's how I pronounce it, and he opened a steel mill. He was well known to prioritise profits above people. Ooh, never a good idea, that one. With an eye on maximising output, McTavish created a massive hauler he dubbed Iron Menace, a device that the steel industry had never seen before. The rail transporter moved workers and ore at record volumes and dizzying speeds. Suddenly, the greedy baron mysteriously appeared and no one knows how or where. Shortly after, McTavish steel mill closed. All that remains today are the mill's decrepit shell, rusty relics and wild tales of the owner's whereabouts. Oh, I like that backstory, and hopefully that plays off with some theming in the queue line. There's some really nice visuals as well what have come from this, such as this one here, which I love, with all the chimney and everything. It kind of gives me Baron 1898 vibes, dive coaster that can be found at Efteling in the Netherlands. Obviously that has got a lot of that theming, and fun fact for you, they actually brought in B&M to do some custom support structure on there, which is amazing. You don't really get that very often, so yeah, that was really nice to see on there. But Gatekeeper at Cedar Point, for example, that also features some custom supports as part of its entrance done by B&M. But yeah, it's very rare that you get that. But you see what I mean with that image? It just feels very Baron 1898. And I don't think we're going to get that level of theming on this ride, or at least not from the other concepts. However, it looks like we're going to be seeing the actual steelworks kind of station with this, which would be nice. Hopefully some smoke effects. And I think the look of it, or maybe similar to Copperhead Strike over at Carowinds, the Mac Double Launch Coaster. It might look similar to that in terms of the theme and overall aesthetic around this, but of course this is a B&M dive coaster. But there you go. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm sure we'll head back there to Dorney Park at some point in the future, but I feel like this will be a really nice addition. We had a great time there, we love the park, but I'm aware that it's not really had much investment in recent years in big thrills, so this will be a great addition for them. Like I say, capacity will be really good. It's nice that it's got some theming and a backstory, and yeah, I'm a big fan of what Cedar Fair are doing with that as well. But as always, let me know your thoughts down below in the video comments. Always great to see a new B&M coaster as well. You know what you're getting. You pay a lot of money for a B&M, but you know what? It really is the build quality of those. They last for years, don't they? And yeah, that is the great thing about their rides. And I do always enjoy a dive coaster as well. The anticipation of climbing up the lift hill and of course making your way round to the drop is fantastic. I actually prefer the dive coasters that have like a turn before and you kind of don't go straight into the drop. It just kind of builds it up a little bit more. But yeah, I'm sure this will be a fantastic ride, and one that fans of Dorney Park are very much looking forward to when it opens in 2024. Lots more theme park announcements coming up here on Theme Park Worldwide, so stick with us for all of the latest theme park news. I'm Sean Sandbrook, thank you for watching, and that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there, keep on riding. See you in the next video.